craziest thing I've heard. Man, all this stuff going on. I'm just a musician. I'm just a musical cat nowadays, but I've gotten overexcited about all this. But this is ridiculous. People standing in the road in Minneapolis asking if you're ICE or not letting you go through. I'd run them over. I want to go up there and rent an SV, like a Hummer, and I just want to go right through them. Honk, all honk, of course. For God's sake, look at this. I was Barry's first guest a couple years ago. I'm shunned from the damn place.
Where allegedly Bovino is staying. Now we have
I don't know why.
the officer is here.
Anyway, I love you, Barry, and thank you for the info.
They're going to handle the matters, so stay tuned to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, man. No matter what.
We aren't ICE. We are not ICE. We're not ICE.
But even if they were ICE, for God's sake, ICE are just doing their job. I'm tired of this. I'm going to fly up there and rent a Hummer and drive through these guys. Somebody got to do it, please.
Over an hour.
Somebody's got to do it. I love your show, Barry. I love you guys. I'm shunned.
We're just letting them know
I don't know why, because I said something or whatever.
Right,
get in your truck, get the out.
Anyway.
Because you need to go. Confirmed ICE. Get the
Confirmed ICE through who? We're American citizens. We're not ICE.
These are the people that you're abducting. Get out. Please go.
Because they've been following us for over an hour.
Why are you guys here? What are you here doing? Where do you live? Where are you from?
I forget about this stuff for a while, but this is a 1980. It's actually a Kalamazoo. I just left this.
Yeah, this truck.
And 1980, a 59 remake with a 59 neck.
What's the database?
It's a magnificent top. I handpicked it. It's Bruce Pucker Pros that I rewound myself and a guy named Seymour Duncan. He showed me how a few times. A good buddy of mine used to sweep his floors.
I'm curious about
in Santa Barbara. Under the bridge! Remember Seymour under the bridge? Yeah, on the way to the school. In the swamps. Down there in the swamps. Yeah.
Everybody, if
Barbara.
you've seen
Godita.
what's been going on in Minneapolis, the absurdity of what you've been seeing, and there's a few people out there on the ground. You've seen some stuff from Cam Higsby. I don't know if I can call her his partner, but Haley West is one of the people that you just saw in that video with the nut jobs that were surrounding her, and I believe Cam was in the truck as well.
Show some tones to y'all while you're listening to this. Crazy,
How are you doing, Haley?
crazy.
I'm doing great, Barry. Thanks so much for having me on.
Before we begin, what's your background? You're an independent journalist. Are you attached to like TPUSA or Frontline or any of these guys, or are you just truly an independent journalist?
Yeah, currently it's just me. I started kind of in this sphere about 6 months ago, still relatively new. But yeah, it's just me on the ground out there. And luckily I've been able to, join teams of journalists and work on the ground with others, not just by myself, especially in situations like these.
So you just started like 6 months ago, and you just jumped into the fire?
I jumped right into it. I've always been interested in,
this girl's more of a journalist
and
than
I'd say the last 4 years were
Don
really
Lemon.
about learning and, kind of just ingesting information. And then, of course, I'm located.
Yeah, she's more of a journalist than Don Lemon, and it's not
backyard.
Lamond.
There's usually something happening.
Lamond is like Greg Lamond, the real bike racer who won 3 Tour de France way before the cheater. The wristband guy, Armstrong. Greg Lamond was my first love, Sally Adam. Hey, Sally, if you're out there. Her first cousin, like a brother, was Greg Lamond. He used to ride his bike from Carson City up to Lake Tahoe, where we lived, and then on to Sacramento, and then back to Tahoe, and back to Carson, in the high elevation air. Like, I grew up at 8,000 feet. Anyway.
He was the one driving that vehicle.
Well, first, I'd like to congratulate that you went from an independent journalist to a confirmed ICE agent.
Yeah, man, right.
Congratulations.
She's got some huevos.
Idiots somehow think that you guys
Anyway.
are ICE agents.
Yeah, they know you're not.
That's a great question, Barry. Because especially, I mean, if you look at me, I'm about 5'2". You know, I'm wearing just a puffer jacket, and I'm in the back of this vehicle. And somehow we were confirmed ice in these
preamp is
signal
off,
chats,
sorry.
and you know, I think
I'll
a
turn it
lot
on.
of the confirmations that they get, obviously they can, you know, they can determine some are actual ice agents. However, I think a lot of it is just them determining based off, you know, what they see or what they hear. That
Should be able to
we're
do
ice
that.
agents. I mean, they're the
Any guitar player,
speculative
one
of
string, all
everybody
strings.
out there.
Anyway, that's not my
So
preamp. That
it's
was
almost
channel 2.
like you have to kind of
Through
prove
this
that
mic.
you're not.
My
But yeah, based on
5150's over
visual,
there.
I guess that's how they determine.
A
That's what we were.
5150, an
When
EVH,
did
you
you
know,
first
Van
notice
Halen
that you were being
amp, my
followed?
cream one.
So the first day that I was out
Marshall
there, we were in
Marshall
this vehicle,
slant cabinet
we
with 4
crossed
Celestians
into
and a
South Minneapolis,
5150 that I
where
tweaked a
you've seen
little bit
lot of
into
the footage
this.
from different journalists,
Soldano,
Eddie
this baby.
Convoy's, Bavino was in this area as
A
well.
5150, an Eddie
the few
amp
days
is
prior to
basically
that.
a
And so as soon as
Soldano
we crossed
anyway.
in there, there's
And
a
here
lot
it
of
is.
small neighborhoods.
Oh, and I
It's
got
kind
a.
of like a grid
What do you hear this
of what
Centron,
neighborhood
man?
and community looks like. And so we crossed over. We drove past
Just a minute.
car crash that had occurred, and then that's when we started noticing these vehicles started to kind of accumulate behind us. And then listening into these signal chat groups, we were able to hear them call out the Ford F-150 we were in and the license plate, and then we knew at that point for sure that we were confirmed in there, you know, by their spotters. Yeah, yeah.
Then I got a Neve 1176.
I watched your videos,
Excuse me, I mean a
and
Neve
I recently had
1073
the Data
preamp with
Republican
EQ
on,
and
and she was
Bill
showing me a lot of the
1176,
stuff, and
and
obviously all the
with
stuff
that
that
as a
Cam
team.
and you have
Channel
put
1,
out
channel 2.
there. It seems quite sophisticated. Do you know how it was developed or when it was developed?
Excuse me. That is, you know, Cam is the one who's really broken the story and knows the nitty gritty and all the details. I'm not too sure of. These things have been going on for a very long time. Like these groups and the chats themselves are nothing new. However, as far as like this specific signal chat, I don't know when it came to be, but I do know it's very, very organized. It's very, very intricate. And they have every step of it planned out. And I mean, we saw that play out, you know, just in the 3 weeks that we were there. So
it's amazing what happened
I was
to
only
her.
there for
Just
about
amazing.
5 days, but that the others were there as well. So yeah, it's insane.
Do you think they have people working with them at the airport, at the rental car counters and gas stations? Is it that bad, or is it just centralized in those neighborhoods?
So allegedly, you know, I've heard those things that are occurring allegedly.
I got locking
well
tuners from the back and the twist
they
winds
claim
on these
that
Grovers
the
locking,
people
Grover
working
locking.
there
They're just
are also
magnificent.
giving out
On a
this
Les Paul.
information, and I think it's very
On a
wouldn't
Les
say
Paul
that
or
it's 100%,
a violin guitar.
It's very, very likely that all of this is occurring. The problem is it's hard to pin down names because a lot of them use aliases.
It's cut like a violin.
Or, you know, made up usernames, and so it's
a violin.
difficult
Les Pauls
to
are
pin
violins.
down specifics, but I think it can be done, and thankfully now we're seeing this network kind of being broken up with a lot of people, you know, finding out.
Try and listen and tune by your ear first.
Yeah, yeah.
And at this point, as you're going through Minneapolis, now let me just ask a question. The Minneapolis is where this incident took place, or as you said, South Minneapolis. Where were you staying? Did you have to stay in a completely different area?
Yeah. We stayed about, I'd say, 20 minutes, probably 20 minutes outside of this area. I believe it was still considered Minneapolis, but way outside because, you know, once they track your vehicle,
nice and snug,
they'll follow you. I mean, we had to.
I give free lessons to vets. Pretty much everyone. I give free lessons. I got plenty. I've got plenty.
We weren't even out there
food,
for,
house, studio,
we were driving, we'd gotten
family.
food in the same area closer to downtown at this point.
And I'm getting better. I've been so sick with acute intermittent porphyria and multiple sclerosis is kicking my ass. I can't remember.
We were already in the system, so we had to drive a different
But I haven't forgotten how to play guitar yet.
and we got, you know, basically tracked again. One of the guys that I was with got
I'm having a
out
hard
in
time
front of her
standing
and
up
said,
now with my
"We're
legs, so
journalists." He showed
I
up
sit
for press
now.
passions and, you know, was
Don't
just
mind.
proving that we're not ICE agents.
It's weird sitting for rock and
but
roll.
it doesn't matter. You know, once they have any kind of suspicion of you, you're in that system and your vehicle is therefore compromised.
Wow. I mean, at this point, being in Minneapolis must have felt like you were in another country. But even where I've traveled, other countries aren't this bad. What did it feel like? Did it feel like you were in a communist country?
God darn it. This drives me nuts.
I think at points it felt more like a war zone, especially when you have like federal agents out everywhere, tear gas, which, you know, isn't abnormal or uncommon in these type of situations. But yeah, I think where that almost like foreign feeling comes from is that it's everywhere in Minnesota. Right. It is a massive, you know, area of this city that you go into a restaurant and they're harboring these people. They're basically saying, come in, take whatever you want, you know, free water, free food. They'll like prop the door. There was one where like, it was like a grocery store. And about 2 blocks away, you had this like war zone going on where agents were trying to keep back protesters. But then you had this like slightly opened doorway to a grocery store that looked closed from the outside, but they had them
gunslinger
where they were trying to flee from any of the tear gas and just getting offered. I mean, they offered a couple of the guys we were with to come in because they didn't know who they were at that point. Come in, gave them everything that they needed. And, you know, it's just a very strange feeling.
Okay, guys.
But you know, no matter where you go, what streets you're on, you're gonna see, you know, spray painted things or you know, everything is anti-ice. It feels like in that.
That's
area,
ridiculous.
So. Yeah.
You know,
Thanks for checking it out up there, young lady.
450,000 people or so.
Hell, I was Barry's first guest.
Just of Minneapolis is involved in this.
Very active on the channel for almost 2 years. I know Barry doesn't have the time to deal with it, but
from Minneapolis, how many people in the actual Minneapolis area are involved in this? Would you guess?
You know, it's difficult to probably pinpoint because
that's a Les Paul, baby.
This occurring, these protests, these riots, these rallies. You know, you have the community that's invested, but it's not to this like extreme point, right? A lot of people think that what is occurring is wrong, and they want to see people protected, but they don't know the intricacies of what's actually occurring on the ground. But in Minnesota, I'd say more of the community is involved as I've seen. This is, you know, you have Antifa in the mix. You have people that I know from Portland.
Recommend anyone learning to play guitar to learn the blues. Learn the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, di, do scale before you learn the pentatonic, or you will be stuck in pentatonic hell forever. It's a killer scale, but that's the scary part, is when you have a majority of the city, which I can't confirm, but if you do, if you have a majority of this community against the federal government, against what these operations are intended to do, then yeah, more and more people are going to get hurt, and that's a sad fact. You know, we don't want to see that.
Did you have a chance while you guys were out there to speak to any
teeny bit of echo
in Minneapolis? I mean, like the people who are completely bat poop crazy. And if so, what do they think, and are they too afraid to speak out?
So just due to the danger and the safety issues where we were, most of the time we weren't able to get interviews or, you know, show who we were. We kind of had to blend in with the crowd. But at the Whipple Federal Building, I was able to speak with a gentleman, a Minnesotan, who was just out there, you know, supporting. He wasn't antagonistic or doing anything to impede operations. He was just out there, and I did about a 4-minute interview with him, and he basically just said, like, you know, I agree with some of these things, but, you know, we're glad National Guard is coming in, sent by Governor Waltz, but
here comes Octivo.
The average person, they think with their heart, they're more sympathetic, they think emotionally, and so when they see these, you know, what they deem as brutal acts occurring, then they
oh, wait a minute, here she comes.
Versus, you know, if you're
Octivo!
What's actually occurring, that might kind of, that's why we're out there, is to show what's actually happening once those incidents have kind of faded away, and you have protests and masses of people going out there to start something. So,
how many of the people, if you were to guesstimate this, how many of the people you think would be willingly
magnetic dust
go forward with doing some serious violence? I mean, making noise and breaking windows and spray painting stuff is one thing, but it takes a whole different type of person
full up,
to
then bring down, no more,
how many, are there a lot of them that would
little more,
put their lives on the line?
now I'm trying to get a trumpet sound, man. There she is. There she is.
this network is to kind of train people to think.
I'll take it. Oh, sorry. And learn these.
To those things, and so once you start training people and radicalizing people, like that number is going to uptick for sure. And I think that we're living in such a time where people are truly, like, these narratives are making them live in fear and anger, and they think that, you know, with the terminology we hear of Nazi or white supremacists or all of these things that a lot of us have been called, and especially the agents out there, like, it's very scary rhetoric that we hear, and it's not just coming from the, like, leaders of the resist DAP or the resist groups or the anti-ICE groups. This is coming from politicians, and, you know, that is where I think people are going to have to be held responsible, because that's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you guys were being followed, and it went on for like a number of blocks, did you try to call the police? And if you did, what happened?
No, we didn't try to call the police. From experience, like, that would have taken probably a long time. So basically what we ended up doing, we did try to lose them. We did a U-turn. We tried to get out of the neighborhood. With the second incident, we literally had to go onto the freeway and, like, zoom out because they were trying to continue to follow us. But no, that's why, you know, at that point we had people, we just got out of the vehicle and approached the car of these two women that were, blowing whistles and had been tracking us for over an hour. And then that's where we see all these people coming from protest nearby and confronting us. And yeah, it was just a mess. That's where they asked for our IDs and, things like that. What world are we living in?
I saw the guy in the orange hat, and he comes charging up. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know, and I'm not going to ask you if you or Cam were armed, but they might get something they don't want. I mean, they're charging after people. You have every right at that point to defend yourself. And I don't think these people understand the repercussions they could face. If not in that area, if they fight in different areas, they're not going to go home. So, I mean, it's absolutely insane because he was so aggressive. He was swearing at you. And I was thinking, okay, so they're following you and they're trying to see where you're going. What would they have done if they found out what hotel you're staying at? Just make noise or try to break into your room? I can't even imagine. Did you guys think about what they would do?
Yeah, I mean, we had plan A, plan B, on, what to do in what situation. I mean, you literally go out there and you have to come together if one of us gets hurt or if one of us gets separated. Like, you have to make all of these plans in advance because of the true danger. Like, it seems, maybe just talking to the average person, they might be like, oh, you're blowing this out of proportion. But no, like, there is true danger. And we've seen that in the footage of, like, what happened to Nick and Cam being surrounded. This is, it's not a game. And I think when you're in a mass group, they feel power, right? Like, they feel like nothing can touch them. If, versus if there's only a few of us on the ground, like, it's free reign at that point, basically. So the danger is real. If, you are out there, you have to make contingency plans and be very wise about trying to blend in. But, I mean, day one or day two, we already, they put what you're wearing. They say, not to engage, and they call you all kinds of labels. And so, you just have to kind of be aware of your surroundings at all times and that you're not being followed.
You, Cam, the other people you mentioned, Nick Shirley, all independent journalists. Where are the so-called network journalists? Are they out there?
What do you mean by network journalists?
The CNNs of the world, the MSNBCs.
Yeah, that's a great question. Something common that I've seen, not just in Minnesota, but most like Portland or Seattle, you'll see them come out, during the day when they have the little inflatables and they're doing like a little seance in front of the federal building. It's very calm, it's a picture perfect moment. But then as soon as nightfall comes, you have Antifa coming out, and that's where the real danger arises. That's where all of these incidents typically occur, and they're nowhere to be found. And that's a huge problem. That's why you have so many independent journalists rising up and saying, whether they're left or right or center, you know, they're going out there because it's so problematic that mainstream media is failing to do their job, and you're having people who are in their 20s or even younger going out there and saying, you know, no, this is not what happened, and challenging their narratives.
Crazy.
Oh, Elizabeth. And you've been able to engage with them, you've been able to talk to some of them maybe. What the hell do they really want? I mean, ICE leaving,
all of this,
is
all of
that
this,
their
all
demand?
Elizabeth.
That's it, and then they all, because I think Jacob Fry has said, if you guys go away, everybody else goes away. He's actually
Pray for this.
I think
Don't you know?
if that was the case, then
Sleeping under the bridge, lady. Something to show. All Elizabeth. Elizabeth.
Common denominator. They hate him, and they hate whatever. You know, we had mass deportations under President Obama. We had it's ridiculous that a lot of these things that were enforced and the money that was given to ICE agents to do their job, a lot of that occurred under, you know, Obama, and then now Trump is doing a lot of the same things, and that's where they have a problem with it, because it's not what's being done, but who's doing it. And so, yeah, I think that, you know, I hope that they will come to some sort of agreement, you know, in Minnesota against what's going on there. It's only going to continue this way. And mind you, this isn't, when I got there, it was minus 20. So this isn't beyond cold temperatures. You know, for necessary.
You mentioned money for the ICE, the money for these people, as Data Republican and other people are starting to dig. There's some really deep pockets. I think Bill O'Reilly talked about some guy who's in Canada. One of the things that amazes me is that they talk that they hate capitalism, but then they enjoy the fact that there's somebody out there who's writing checks for their signs and then their noisemakers and everything else. Are these people just that disjointed?
I think the people who are organizing are not. They're very smart. They know exactly what however, you know, when you have most people are sheep, right? Most people want to be led. They want to be told what to do, and especially if you live emotionally and you live by what feels right, then you're probably going to lean more on the left. And you're probably going to say, well, yeah, it's a little baby getting snatched up and maybe like with weapons, like, you know, that's unbelievable, because people fail to do their own research, and they fail to look at the parts that nobody wants to look at, the money. You know, we're finding this coming from the numbers, the statistics. People don't want to look inward. They just want to be told, and so that's why you have a lot of these people that are just, it seems like they're insane.
I needed this.
On the right as well, and we can't just believe what we're told by whatever news, you know, network. We have to do the work, and that's why I think being on the ground opens your eyes so much, because you see falsehoods on both sides. You know, when you watch the news next morning, you're saying, that didn't happen, but that didn't happen. It's like, this is what really happened, and I hope that continued footage of what's happening will begin to open people's eyes, but then you also see situations where we all watch the same shooting and still the narratives are completely different. Even after watching the same 30-second video, how can we be so different? So, yeah.
How long do you think, you mentioned the summer and the spring, and this winter, how long do you think these people can continue this? I mean, just having this kind of adrenaline and drive to just keep protesting, it's got to take a toll on somebody. I mean, do you think they have the numbers to continue this during the summer, or do they have to bring in more recruits?
I've seen it. I mean, a recent protest in Portland, I actually saw a woman that I saw like about 4 months ago. She's now leading and speaking at a protest, when the day that I met her, it was her first time being out at the ICE facility. Like, they basically are grooming these people into being leaders, being advocates, being voices. So I do believe that there's an awareness. That's what we've typically seen. It'll be uprising, and then it'll be calm for a bit, and then the next incident, whatever it might be, I
people must be getting paid, but have you guys been able to confirm that they are indeed getting paid, and are they making money from this?
Yeah, it's occurring. No doubt about that. You see, there's names that have been thrown around that we can all say, yeah, they're probably funding this. Now, the trail to prove that is a long one, and people are working on it. One day I think we'll know. But the scary part about it, I think, is that a lot of these people are out there because they truly believe in what they're doing. They're not just being paid. You see a lot of them wearing the jacket, the green jackets or the yellow jackets, and like those ones are being paid. They're there. You'll see a lot of them around the nation, in different protests. Like those ones, I'd say, sure, they're getting paid because they're professional protest work. Most of them, no, they're out there for what they believe is a cause. It's anarchy, and they're doing it for free. So yeah, it's taking its toll.
How are they living? I mean, you gotta eat, you gotta put clothes on, you gotta pay rent. How the hell are these people living and going out to protest every other day? That's probably a story in itself. Hey, I'm not here to argue with you. How are you doing this? I mean, I saw today they announced that they were having this thing where nobody goes to work, nobody goes to school, nobody shops. And I'm thinking, well, like every other day.
What's new?
That was insane.
No, you're totally right. I mean, you will see a percentage of the people are maybe homeless or have mental disabilities. That's a very common thing where they'll almost bring them in like we're a family, and you can shop this, we'll help you, we'll get you food. In Portland, there's an encampment for like multiple months. People were living there. There was a fire. It was looking at the units. So a lot of them bring them in that way. There's safe houses as well, Antifa safe houses where people will just stay in the same place. But yeah, I think a lot of them do work in healthcare that they've admitted, or they're lawyers, or these are normal people that by day they work their job and by night they're out there protesting.
You brought up something interesting. You said they're in healthcare and things of that nature. A couple of people down here in Florida decided they were going to put a phone to their face and tell us how they were going to hurt MAGA and poison people. And I'm thinking, is this kind of some sort of brainwashing that you're willing to put your career on the line? That's what is hard for me to understand. You're an esthetician at a hospital. You're probably making $100,000 a year, and you tell people I'm not gonna put up the doses so people can feel pain, and then you get your license revoked. It doesn't make any sense. It almost feels like a mob mentality is taking over, and they're not understanding that this stuff is real life. You just can't threaten people this way and follow people like you around. It just drives me nuts. I mean, when you guys sit back and you're planning your trips, and you have to go through, like you said, all the different scenarios, are you concerned if somebody has to go to a hospital, or if you have to go to a restaurant, that somebody may poison your food or do something out of urgent care?
Yeah, it's always a fear. Even walking into a restaurant or like a bar or whatever you go, there's always that fear. You can't live in fear. You just have to try to, live wisely and, just be respectful of wherever you're at. So, but I think that, in Minnesota that was a problem is no matter where you went, you didn't know, because it feels like the whole city is infiltrated, which is so crazy. But yeah, you just have to be really wise and, try to have plans of if something happens, this is what we do.
So where are you guys headed? And I say you guys, where are you headed next?
Well, I'm back in Portland, so, last weekend actually, they, probably one of the crazier, weeks we've seen in months where they actually deployed tear gas. They were crossing the federal line, they were trying to rip down, the boards that are on the building. So I definitely think this, Friday shooting has kind of woken up, and Portland's kind of a copycat, so whatever happens elsewhere, that allows them to kind of get, rise up and get crazy. So that's something I'm definitely keeping an eye on. But overall, Minnesota
with some safety, whatever it is that you do next. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you very much for your drive to cover all this and get us the news. Be safe.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Talk to you soon.
Greatness of Randy Rhoads is going to the E without the F sharp. We love Randy Rhoads.
Just call us. Let her go. Just call us. Family.
What's going on? The sheriff in the world. Anyway, killer tones, right? Listen to this Octivo.
Right now.
Octivo!
Meds are vital. I can't stress that enough. You know, it's been better than 24 hours when the family tells us.
Centron.
If she doesn't have
5150, man. I tweaked it. Hey, watch this. Wait a minute. Oh, Octivo. Oh.
We are expecting a press conference from local authorities to take place at 1:30.
Octivo, baby.
And just a note before I bring in our panel.
Tom Schultz had to come up with this. I'm just tweaking my volume. Little bits. Check it out. Less treble. Less
dead.
bass, less
He didn't
rhythm.
say she's dead. But he
Oh,
used it in a way
warms
that
a
was kind
bit.
of jarring and gave you a bit of a window, perhaps, into what his worries are, what he's thinking.
Ooh, that's
Maybe
radical.
even his memories. I don't
Then
know.
dirty it up.
This person's dead or this, that, and then I sit in some hospital and says, hey, I think I've got this lady in my hospital. So, we need to make out hope. And that's why you guys are so critical to us. Somebody out there sees something, says, maybe they'll see her. We get the calls like that. Hey, I think I saw her in Flagstaff. Hey, I think I saw her over here. And so we'll chase those leads down.
Fox News has it too about the blood droplets, but then sort of tried to walk it back, saying, if I were asked that by NBC now, I wouldn't confirm it. Okay. He seems like a very nice guy, but his messaging has been a little inconsistent from place to place. It seems clear that there was blood inside the house, that it was hers, and that it led a trail right outside of the house, which is more than likely how they determined this is a crime scene, and this was not somebody who walked off of their own volition. Again, we're going to have a presser in about an hour and a half where we will bring you as news from that as it unfolds.
Oh, it cuts through the air. I hope it's coming out over there. Yeah, no yellow. Try this. Louder. Whoa. Louder. Whoa.
Subscribe to this show on YouTube and follow me on Insta, Facebook, and X. These are not the meat sticks you grew up with. This is regenerative American dairy farms. Paleo Valley lets you feel good about what you are eating and who you are supporting. In fact, Paleo Valley is one of the few companies that sources 100% of its meat from American farms right here in the U.S. Real ingredients, real results. No preservatives, no gluten, soy, refined sugar, dairy, or GMOs. Whether you are road tripping, working late, hitting the gym, or just need a quick pick-me-up, these beef sticks are for you. High protein, low guilt, no crash. Keto, paleo, carnivore, whatever your lifestyle.
I gotta figure this out, man. Am I even hot? Not getting yellow at all. That's good. I don't know. You should be able to. There it is. As loud as I want to go. That's as loud as that's with the boost on? No. God, that's it. The Octivo. Yeah, baby. So, yeah, that's just. Let me gate that up. Hold on, man. Let me gate it up a little bit. Down with that and up with this. There, it's quieter. There, it changes the tone a little. There, got it. And then the threshold and the release even lower. Oh, I don't know. Oh, there we go with a little echo. Turn the echo down. Touch. I'll teach you tones too, man. For a while, my tones you couldn't hear them because it was distorting and stuff. At first, it took me 6 months to figure this damn thing out. I'm putting good quality stuff on the iPhone. Anyway. See, that even gives a slide. Really? It's gotta be. That's loud. It's gotta be rocking. God, that's really loud. Less, I guess. Real important lick to learn. Ah, shit. Couple more. Where was I? I must rest. Thank you. And I just said, what the hell? Good show, everybody. Good show, whoever you were. Oh, check this out. One last. Super boost. Ouch. Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. I'll turn it down a little bit. Oh, yeah. Gain it up. I gotta find another spot for this. And I'm out of tune. Not bad. Not bad. The gate's working. The gate's working nicely. Hear that gate cutting off nicely, but not my sustain. See that? See the change in just volume? See the change I get in just volume? These are pulled and split and out of phase. And both humbuckers and just phased. He'd be up there. That's up here, right? It's like E flat. Justin Derrico. An A. Justin Derrico.